What's on YouTube? It's PTT back at it with another Division video. Today, agents, we are talking about my first impressions of global events, of classified gear sets. Obviously, recently I got to play the PTS, and I apologise now for the background footage not being of any of the PTS. As much as I can play it on the computer now, I still can't stream or record it, so you're going to have to put up with some old footage. I do apologise, but the points I want to talk about are important, so bear with me. First up then, let's talk first impressions, okay? I jumped into the PTS with some pretty high expectations. I've spoken to a few ETF members and I was excited, okay? I jumped in, I went into the terminal, I had a quick look around the new area in the terminal where you actually get to check out the global events, you get to find out what is on offer, and it looks pretty cool. It is what it is, you know, it is a new addition to the terminal, it's nothing special. When I looked at how the global events worked and I looked into what they have on as modifiers, which in week 2 PTS is headshots, I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. We get a week-long event, we get some modifiers with them. This is going to be fun. I jumped into my first global event and my expectations were set kind of high, like I said, and I actually was mind blown. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It gave a new kind of way of playing the Division that I haven't done before, you know. It was very, very interesting. I liked it. I think that Massive could be very creative with global events in future, you know, with the modifiers and the way they get people to play differently. Like I said, right now it is headshots, but you think, what if they went through where pistol kills were better, or melee kills were better, or grenade kills were better? It could just add so much potential. They could include certain skills, and it honestly could change up the way that we all play the game. So overall, you know, my impression of the global events and the way in which they work and the modifiers are very, very, very good. Okay, there are a few concerns I have about global events, and I want to cover them before we go on to talk about other bits and pieces that are on the PTS. So the way in which global events work is you have modifiers that are on any PvE activity. You have a weekly featured, I want to call it playlist, that I'm putting my Destiny head on right now. But basically you have like a list, okay? There are a few missions on there. I think there was 2 challenging, 2 hard, and then you had the incursion. I could slightly be wrong with that. It could be like 3 hard, 1 challenging, and an incursion. But basically there are a list of missions, okay? This PTS, like I said, it's about headshots, but it is also about cleaners. So you had Hudson, you had Subway Morgue, you had Dragon's Nest, you had Napalm Production site. These were missions that give you extra rewards for doing because you're killing cleaners and things like that. Very, very good. I liked it. What worries me though is while you can get global event tokens rather easily, albeit I think they're a little bit too easy to get at the moment, but we will talk about that in a minute. What worries me is that there is no actual way of getting guaranteed rewards. Okay, you can go through global events, you can dump, you know, 20, 30 hours in a week into playing global events for that 1 week of the month they are there, and you cannot guarantee yourself a classified piece of gear, okay? I say that, I've tweeted at the Division, I've tweeted, you know, Matt Shotcher and Hamish, and they've all come back and said, no, there is definitely not a 100% guaranteed way of getting a classified gear piece. However, you know, they do drop in the global event caches that you can buy with your global event tokens. And while I'm happy with RNG, you know, the system they've implemented, it is fine to a point. I think that if you are going to implement something like global events that only comes around once a month, then you have to have some form of guaranteed rewards for taking part. Now, how would I change the system up to actually make it a little bit better? Well, like I said, if you go into the terminal and you talk to one of the vendors, he will actually show you what missions are on, like I said, the weekly featured kind of playlist thing. It gives you X amount of missions, the incursion and things like that. What I think is that if you complete all of those activities, then you should get guaranteed 1 piece of classified gear set. That way, it doesn't matter how much grinding you do through the week, you know that all you have to do is complete, you know, a handful of missions, an incursion or something, and then you can be guaranteed a piece of classified gear. Because I opened up a few classified gear boxes and I didn't get anything, okay? Yes, I got an exotic cache out of them. Yes, I got some normal gear sets, but I didn't get any classified gear sets. Now, I know that they want them to be super, super rare. That comes with obviously being super powerful when you do acquire a full set of classified gear. But it does worry me, especially, you know, with my luck, my personal experiences with RNG games, not just in the Division, in Destiny as well, where I can spend an entire year, I'm going to my Destiny experiences here, I can go through an entire year doing a particular raid every single week and not get a piece of loot that I am chasing. The same in the Division. Hundreds, if not thousands, of runs of Lexingtons to not get a Barrett's chest piece. Hundreds of survival runs to not get an MDR. Even now with the weekly exotic caches, I've never had my own urban MDR drop. For my own loot pool, it has always been given to me by friends. So yeah, it does worry me a little bit. But like I said, global events as a whole, they are super fun to take part in. They give you a way of playing the game that you probably haven't played for a while. And that is pretty cool. Like I said, they can be very creative going forward. And I'm kind of excited to see what they can do. You know, I would like them to maybe ask the community what kind of things they would see. I think it would be a very good way of being interactive with the community and getting them involved with global events a little bit more and the way they would work going forward. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Let's move on next then to classified gear sets, okay? I got to play with the Striker classified gear set. I got to play with the Sentry classified gear set. I didn't try the final measure. I put it on, I read through the perks, but I didn't actually get time to try and test it out because I wasn't playing with a team. So, you know, final measure is one of those classified sets that really helps the team out as much as yourself. So, you know, I couldn't really do much testing on it. But from what I've seen of classified gear sets so far, they're very good. I like them. I like the way they work. I like the way that they kind of, you know, take a step forward on the 4 pieces and some of the 3 pieces that are already on the gear sets we know. I like the way that they make you powerful when you get them. Yes, okay, some people are talking that Strikers is still a tad too powerful. I definitely kind of got the feeling that Strikers was still a little bit too powerful. I mean, I just opened up a set of classified, you know, a classified gear cache. I put on all 6 pieces. I had no performance mods. I didn't re-roll anything, and I just went straight into Challenge in Hudson, and I walked through it like an absolute cakewalk. Now, I also know that things like the Sentry build, so Grumps a lot, he's managed to go along and solo Legendary Times Square with a Sentry build. So they definitely do offer power, but to say that you can't guarantee you're going to get a piece of gear in an entire week from a global event, and you know they're going to swap them out every week, I don't know if it is too much to worry about, you know, and whether they need to be nerfed and brought down, because that they are what they are. You know, you don't get those 5 and 6 piece talents unless you've got the 6 piece classified gear set on, and that I do think is going to take a very long time. Now, time will only tell if gear sets need to be tweaked, the classified bonuses. Time will tell whether the loot drops need to be tweaked and changed a little bit, but let's be honest, and I don't want to, you know, kick massive in the nuts or anything, but they didn't really listen to the community with things like the Barrett's chest piece and the drop rates on that. They just left it as it was. So, you know, I'm kind of in 2 minds. I love how classified gear sets work. I don't know if I like the RNG based system that they have implemented in it, because, you know, this is supposed to be our year 2 new content, and while it's not actually new in the form of no new missions or anything like that, we're only replaying what's already in game. I think, you know, if you're going to add things like this into game, you need to let the player base get hold of them and play with them. And like I've said, I think I've said it enough already, but without a guaranteed way of getting at least 1 piece every time you take part in a global event, I do honestly believe that there might be a bit of hate directed towards Massive, and that's kind of sad because, like I've said, they've obviously spent a lot of time working on global events and getting it to a point it is in. It's just, for me personally, I think there's just 1 or 2 things that might need to be changed. Now, that's kind of just like my initial thoughts and impressions. I cannot wait for you guys to get on them. Like, to try and round off the summary of what I feel about classified gear sets, global events, and 1.7 as a whole, just from the few hours I've played on the PTS so far. I played it for a couple of hours, and I jumped on with the intention of playing for 5 minutes, have a quick look, not really do anything. I was going to do it later on in the day. 3.5 hours later, I was still playing. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I just couldn't drag myself away from it. I finally bought myself off of it. I got some videos done. I streamed for a little bit. It was like 11:30, 12 at night. I said to myself, do you know what? I just want to quickly jump back on the PTS just for 5 minutes, because I have a build in my head, and before I forget it, I want to put it together and just maybe try it on one mission. Again, 3.5 hours later, I was still playing. That is how addictive it is. That is how cool global events can be. And bear in mind, I was only playing by myself. Okay, there are modifiers that you can add onto global events that affect you as a solo player, but they can also be upped notches if you're playing as a team. So to say I had that much fun by myself, I honestly dread to think how much fun I could have with teammates, and the extra modifiers that I would be able to apply to the activities, making them harder, making them more fun. I just truly cannot wait, guys, for you lot to get your hands on what is the PTS and 1.7 when it finally drops, and see how much, see how much fun it actually is. Now, I am going to put a separate video together on this issue, because I do think there are a few ways of fixing it. One thing that worries me about classified gear sets in a big way is their ability to kill off high-end builds. And while, like I said, I don't want to go too much into it because I'm still crunching some numbers, classified gear sets, out of Yannick's own mouth, are designed to make you powerful. We said it on State of the Game. We said we don't want to over-nerf classified gear sets because they're going to take a long time to get, and when you do get them, you should feel powerful in them. They should be game changers. Fine. I accept that. I like the idea. I really do. I've always said that you need something higher to, you know, aim for, especially when you're an end game kind of hardcore player. But to kill off, or possibly kill off, high-end builds, and maybe, you know, take away some of the build diversity that we have seen coming into the division over the last few months with recent updates and things like that, that could potentially have a negative effect. Again, like I said, I've got a few more numbers to crunch, but I'm nearly ready to put out a video on why I think classified gear sets could end high-end builds and how I think they could stop that from happening. But yeah, overall, guys, if I'm to give my experience on the PTS a number, it has to be a 9 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The few things that are sitting in the back of my mind could well be addressed before we get the final game come out. I know some of them are aware of the issues in place already, and they're already talking about potential fixes, but we will have to wait and see. What I want to do now, though, guys, is pass it off to you. Have you played the PTS? Have you been watching other people play the ETS? What are your thoughts? What are your expectations? What are your opinions on what you have seen and heard about global events, about classified gear sets so far? Again, I'm hoping to get a few more videos out your way this week, so stay tuned for them. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Tick that little bell icon next to the subscription bar. You will get notified whenever I put a video live, and then you won't miss out on any content. If you like the video, agents, please drop a thumbs up. It helps me greatly. And that's it. As always, thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, I'll catch you all soon.